I've just spent the week being the dumbest person in the room. Today I want to talk about learner mode in today's episode of the Reach Every Student podcast. This past week I've been here in Chicago. You can see Chicago behind me. I'm actually at the campus of Northwestern University, although I'm headed that direction to Loyola University for my last day. And I've been at the AP Physics C, that C stands for Calculus, AP Symposium week-long workshop. It's been a great experience because I have sat there totally in learner mode, analog roots, the whole ball game. It's been really a great experience for me to sit and live in productive struggle. And I've been reflecting on that. I mean, there was a day I got home to the hotel from the conference, and I told my wife, I said, I am so overwhelmed. I don't know if I can handle this. I was questioning whether I had it in me to teach this course. I've talked about this in previous podcasts. I have not had calculus in 42 years, and I'm going to be teaching a calculus-based physics course. Now, I'm pretty decent with the physics, I thought. But literally, like this group, there's like 7 of us. I think I said in the last podcast there are 20. Well, there's 7. And I am the dumbest person in the room. Most of the people have master's degrees in physics. I'm a chemist by training. Physics is sort of a sidebar, though I've been teaching a lot of physics for the past few years. I mean, one thing was very interesting. Martha, who's the main presenter, she was like, well, for those new teachers who might struggle with this, and it was like I had to swallow some humble pie and say, dude, she's talking about me because I'm making these common mistakes that her students would make. And then top it off, I'm having a text chat with my cousin in Washington, D.C., and he's talking about his son, Nate, my second nephew, I don't know what it is. He and a cousin, I think is. And I was talking about Nate, and Nate just got a 5, which is the highest score you can get on the class I'm about to teach. And I'm thinking I may need to like turn to my second cousin, who's going to be, going to Purdue next year, for help on this course myself. I've had to live in that learner mode where I struggle. I'm struggling with the learning. And that day where I was about to I don't think I have it, I slept on it, and there's research that talks about sleeping. I came in the next day, and there were a couple of very difficult topics that I still didn't completely understand, still don't completely. And I said, I'm going to lean into those topics. There's some free time, and with that free time, I said, all right, how can I learn about this concept called moment of inertia from a calculus-based perspective? I actually didn't even know it from an algebra-based perspective, let alone the calculus. And I figured it out, and with help, by the way. There's these 7 are the smart people. There's Martha, the main presenter, and she's got her helper David, and they were very nice to me. And then yesterday, we had actually some more free time. Free time is not the right word, but some work time, I guess. And I thought there is one particular problem that we started at the beginning of the week that I still didn't understand. And so I went back, got a piece of paper, and I worked the problem completely. I went to Martha and I said, Martha, did I do this right, basically? I think I understand the concepts, help me. I did-ish, but then there were like 5 steps later of calculus. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm gonna see if I can figure this out. And then a lovely Mr. David shows up. He tutored physics and calculus, and he said, well, you know about the chain rule and the power rule, and I thought, I don't. What is the chain rule? Actually, I didn't know the power rule. And what is all this stuff? And he carefully walked me through how to do this calculus derivation is what it's called, or derivative is actually the right word. And it had 5 steps or something like that. And I understood it. It gave me confidence that I can learn. And after our conversation, or after that little tutorial session, he said, John, your kids are going to be lucky because you're going to be so close to the learning. You're going to just be 1 step ahead of them. And it's like, I don't know if I want to live there. But you know what? Here I am going into my 41st year in education, and I'm doing something totally new. I'm going into learner mode. And I guess as I'm sort of now reflecting on this, for you in the audience, I wonder if the message that might be is there something where you can step into learner mode, right? Is there some kind of a activity, jump into ballroom dancing, or jump into to go deep into something that you are totally uncomfortable with, And maybe it's teaching a course that you've never had a chance to teach, like me. And live in that, and then I think it's going to give me a lot of empathy for my students, not just in the classes, this one class where I'm going to be in learner mode, but all the classes where I'm not in learner mode. I understand the concepts, and so I want to encourage you to figure out what that is. What is something that you could lean into that would be something out of your comfort zone? Learn to play the violin, learn a new language. I don't know what that is. That's going to be something that's going to be really hard for you as you think about your school. And maybe this is something, we're approaching the end of the summer, and maybe this is something you save for next summer. I don't know, because you're going to get so busy with school and family and life and mortgages and all that kind of stuff. Another thing that this week has emphasized to me is the validity of the MasteryFlip model, because we have lived in analog roots. We have been just paper and pencil, it should be iPad and pencil, brain on, lots of hands-on like experiments. I'm actually going to be at the campus a little early. I want to do a couple more experiments. All kinds of birds flying around. It's cool. And it's so much about just getting my mind wrapped around these concepts. And too often our students have been pushing that AI easy button, and that the aha moment is disappearing, and we can't have that, can we? And so another thing I did yesterday that I was like, I need to figure out how to organize all of this stuff. There's a red-winged blackbird right here. I know they're very violent. Okay, he's flying away. That's good. I picked this really scenic spot. There's geese walking around me. There's like birds and cyclists, and they're wondering, what's the guy talking about? So, what was I going to say? So yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how to organize my content, and as I'm trying to figure out how to organize my content, I have to like do the AI engine. So I have to create these online videos, and honestly, I may not create them all. It turns out that the course has some built-in videos through what's called AP Central, and I may use some of those just because of time, right? So that's the AI engine piece, and then there's the analog roots, and I want to give basically big packets of paper for my kids to sit and wrestle with physics problems, or hands-on experiments where they have this projectile that they shoot at a wall and they have to figure out what the maximum height is of this, or you've got a wheel that spins with a string attached, and how much, all these measuring things. That's that real analog roots thing. But again, I'm still very, very committed, I think, to the third act. And you know, one thing's interesting about the course, as I've been taking practice tests with these teachers, is so often at the end of almost every question, they use the word justify. So you have to justify your answer. In fact, I took a risk, right? We did a sample problem, and I did the problem on the board, right? And it's the A, B, C, D, E parts. It's just a crazy thing, right? And I'm doing this thing on the board, and I'm answering all the questions, and then everyone's critiquing my work. Martha, the gal, she says, now when it says justify, she's talking to me. She's trying to like talk to all of us, but she was talking to me. And she says, you actually need to write sentences, because I had justified it with actually chemical equation or physics equations, and I didn't write enough words, and so yeah, I didn't get the point for the justification. And I was on the right track, but again, that's where I want to have the students say, you have to justify. How do you know this? Why do you know this? Yeah, maybe the answer is X or whatever. But how do you know that? And that has been super good for me to know I need to do that in my learner mode. And I'm going to force my students for that Mastery Viva. Remember, so you got AI engines, analog roots, and then Mastery Vivas. And so I'm really seeing how that is helping me in the learning process. Hence, it's good for my students. Now, the summer is close to the end, right? We're about at the end of the summer. Cool, right? I don't know for you. I'm recording this, and it's July something or another, and I go back to school in less than a month. Maybe some of you have a lot longer break, but if you're at all interested and as you start to move back into learner mode, or back into school mode, maybe I should say, I would encourage you to take the MasteryFlip certification course, where I go through all of these steps one by one that I think will really be powerful for you. So I'd encourage you, if you're not, in the show notes I'll have a link to the MasteryFlip certification course. I would encourage you to take that. It's such a we're already starting to see, if you go to the MasteryFlip page that I'll link, there's people who are already starting to take it, and we're starting to get some very interesting responses from that. In fact, I'm meeting with 2 of them. They emailed me, they took it together, a couple of chemistry teachers in the East Coast, and I'm going to be meeting with them next week just on a Zoom. And by the way, if you take the course, I'm glad to just hop into a Zoom call or a Google Meet call or something like that, have a visit with you to just kind of help you wrap your mind around what that might look like. Remember also that if you take this as a cohort of 4 or more, then you get half off. So I'd encourage you, if that's something that seems interesting to you, the Mastery certification course is something that is helping change a lot of people. And I'm starting to see, again, more and more traction about this around the world. I've been invited to an international conference in December that looks like it's probably going to happen. More on that later. Another thing that's going to happen in the next few weeks, I think I'm going to wait 2 more weeks for now, but in the MasteryFlip Framework course, I recorded excerpts from conversations with professors from Harvard and MIT, and I'm going to release those as full episodes, as special editions. So pay attention, those are on their way in the next few weeks. They won't drop on a Monday, they'll drop, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday or something like that, as special editions where you'll hear my entire conversation with these experts, these great professors, as we talk about the MasteryFlip Framework and basically a lot of other things. So watch for those special editions. One thing I want to do in the podcast in the coming year, assuming I have time because I'm going to be so focused on this new course, is I want to bring in some interviews. And actually, I'd like to even interview some of you. So if you're utilizing the MasteryFlip Framework, I would love to just hear your story. And so if that's something that's interesting to you, drop me an email or go to johnbergman.com, Jon, no H, Bergman, BERGMANN.com, and go into the just like a contact me form or something like that, and you can, and yeah, I'd be glad to have you as an interviewee on the podcast. So hey, thanks for being with me on the Reach Every Student podcast. Now go out and reach every student.